All right, this is in modules, chapter 10. It says word problem practice, something like that. I want you guys, first of all, to write down this little bit of information. Okay, I talked about this yesterday. This is on the video as well. I worked out almost all of the problems. On the part, that last page that has all those the nonlinear ones that are x squared, y squared, you guys don't have to work all of those out. You just had to work out the ones that I did with you, just to make sure those are the types that you're going to see in your test tomorrow. But on your test, remember, there's 9 questions. So write that down. There's 9 questions total. Okay, 9 questions. And there's 2 parts. Part 1 and part 2. Now, you only have 45 minutes for both parts. But I'm going to put a timer up so you guys can see, because you can't spend too much time on part 1 and then not do part 2. All right, there's 7 questions on part 1. 7 questions. No calculator. There's going to be 6 solving, any way you want to, and 1 graphing. Once you're done with that, you're going to turn it in, and then you're going to get the word problem ones. Now, let's talk about the solving for a second. All right, fractions are a possibility for your answers. You might get 3/5. 2/3, something like that. You will not get negative 923 over 57. If you get something ridiculous like that, start again. But I'm not going to answer any questions. I don't want you guys coming up, did I do this right? That sort of thing. No. You guys are responsible for knowing how to do these problems. Let's talk about no solutions and infinite many. Graphically and algebraically. Algebraically, what happens when you solve using elimination or substitution and your answer ends up being no solution? What happens?
The slope is the same, but the y is...
No, not. We're talking about algebraically. When you solve it, what happens to your variables? They all cancel out, right? All of your variables will cancel out, and you'll end up with a statement that's like 0 equals 12. You will end up with an untrue equality statement. Will 0 ever equal 12? Will 0 ever equal -4? Okay, you'll end up where all of your variables cancel out, and then you have a number left on the other side. That's what algebraically that'll look like. If you have no solution graphically, what do your 2 lines look like? They're parallel, they don't touch. No solution is a possibility in your test tomorrow. If you have infinite many, what does your algebraic answer look like? It's the same. Your letters will cancel out, and you'll get like 4 equals 4. -7 equals -7. Algebraically, when you work it out, you will get a true equality statement that will be true every single time. And like Sean just told us, graphically, you'll graph one of the lines, and then you'll graph the other one, and it'll be right on top of it. They're the same line. That's what graphically infinite many looks like. That is another possibility. So make sure you guys understand that. You will not just get all of them have just one solution. Or maybe you will, but I'm just saying that is a possibility that you're going to have no solution, infinite many, that sort of a thing. All right, as far as second part goes, part 2, you'll have 2 word problems. Every single version will have 1 interest problem, like we did yesterday, where you have X fund and Y fund. You add them together, it's the total invested. This is on the video. Where you have the 2 interest rates and you have to see how much was invested in each rate. Every version will have one of that. And then every version will have another word problem. So I'm going through, I'm not saying these are all exactly going to be on the test, but I want you guys to see wording. I want you to understand how easy these are to figure out. I promise. You just have to read. You have to use a little bit of your brain, just a little bit. But remember, we're talking about systems of linear equations. So we're going to have 2 variables. So let's look at number 1. Let's just talk through it. It says the length of a rectangle is equal to triple the width. Which system of equations can be used to find the dimensions of the rectangle if the perimeter is 86 centimeters? A lot of you just got lost reading that. The first sentence says the length of a rectangle. Draw one. We all know what a rectangle is. Go ahead and label. This is the length and this is the width. The longer side is the length. The shorter side is the width, correct? You guys agree? All right, well, we're going to be able to get 2 equations out of this little piece of information. But let's talk about what some words mean in math. What does the word is mean in math? Equals. Every single time. So look, we've defined our 2 variables, right? We're using L and W. The first sentence says the length of a rectangle. So L, and then it says is. What does is mean? Is equal to triple the width. 3W. There's your first equation, guys. L equals 3W. There was nothing tricky there. You read the sentence. You changed the words into math symbols. That's it. Now, we also need to know what perimeter means. Anybody remember what perimeter is? Addition. How do you find the perimeter of something? You add all the way around, okay? So it says the perimeter is, what does the word is mean? Equals. So the perimeter is 86. Would you guys agree with me that I could say, okay, well, that's W plus L plus W plus L equals 86, right? Now, how do I figure out what L and W are? Does anybody see anything that I could do? Can I do what? I can take 3W and substitute it in right there and right there, can't I? Since I wrote my first equation and then I have my second equation, this is the same as W plus 3W plus W, God bless you, plus 3W equals 86. Now, can I solve this equation? Yeah, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 W's equals 86. Divide both sides by 8, and you guys will have a calculator for the word problems. So 86 divided by 8 is 10.75 centimeters. All right, big deal. I found out what W is. So I know that W equals 10.75 centimeters. How do I find out what L is? I plug it back in right here where it says L equals. So I say 3 times 10.75. 3 times 10.75. And I get what? L equals 32.25 centimeters. Now, how can I check to make sure that I'm right? Plug it back in. I can add up, right? I have 2 W's, agreed, and I have 2 L's when I add all the way around. So what's 10.75 plus 10.75 plus 32.25 plus 32.25? That equals 86. Isn't that what they told us that the perimeter was? So here's your answer. Your equations are written right in the words of the problem. You just have to look for them. You have to know what you're looking for. Look at number 2. Remember, we're talking about 2 things, 2 variables. I personally would have you guys write x equals y equals. So at the beginning, you know what you're working with. It says at a college bookstore, Carla purchased a math textbook and a novel. What are the 2 things that Carla purchased?
Textbook.
What kind of a textbook? So x equals math, I'm going to say, and y equals what?
A novel.
A novel. Do you have to make it x and y? No, you can use any letters you want. Does math have to be first and novel second? No, it doesn't matter. But read what this says, okay? So look, replace, use what you have, what you just defined. I'm going to replace math with x and novel with y. The cost of the books is 54 degrees. Not degrees, sorry, dollars. So I bought this, and I bought this, and it equaled 54. How would I write that equation? X plus y equals 54. Perfect. We're going to write 2 equations. Let's keep reading. If the price of the math book is, stop right there. What letter did we use for math book? X. Joseph, what does is mean? Equals. Look. They said the price of the math book is. They just told you X equals. What does 8 more than mean? Do I add 8 to it or I take it away? More than, yep, we add, so plus 8. 3 times the price of the novel. What does that mean? 3y. 3 times the price of the novel. Well, the novel is y, so 3 times that would be 3y. Could you have written 3y plus 8 or 8 plus 3y get the same thing? Yes. So now, can we easily solve this? What would we do? I'm going to take 3y plus 8 and plug it right in there for x. So I have 3y plus 8 plus y equals 54. Do I have any negative signs that I have to distribute? No, so I'm just going to combine like terms. What's 3y and 1y? 4y plus 8 equals 54. Now what? Subtract 8 from both sides. What's 54 minus 8?
46.
What is it?
46.
Yep, so 4y equals 46. Now what? Divide by 4. What's 46 divided by 4?
23.
Y equals 11.5. Does that make sense? Can a novel cost $11.50? Absolutely. So how would I figure out what x equals if I know the novel was $11.50? I can plug it back in. I can say x plus $11.50 equals 54.
How'd you get 1150?
So I'm going to subtract $11.50 from both sides. So 54 minus $11.50. How much was your math book? $42.50. So you guys would answer this question. You would say math book is $42.50. And you would say your novel is $11.50. You don't write your answer here as an ordered pair, guys. This is a real world math problem. You answer the question as it's asked. It says how much was each book. So you say this book was this book was that. Questions. All right, look at the next one. When in doubt, guys, what should you do? Draw a picture. All right, it says a 57-foot wood is cut into 2 pieces. All right, so just draw a big piece of wood. How big is this whole thing? It says 57 feet. Okay, so 57 feet. Agreed? Okay, and how many pieces did we cut it into?
2.
2. Does it say they cut it in half? No, it just says they cut it. All right, so what do you think our 2 variables are going to be? What 2 letters do you want to use?
X and Y.
X and Y, okay? When you read the question, it says, what's the length of the longer piece of wood? So you have 2 pieces of wood. One piece is X, one piece is Y. What's your first equation? It's written right there in front of you in your picture. X plus Y equals 57. Perfect. Good. Now the second piece of information says one piece, what? Is. Wait, stop. One piece is. What does that mean? Equals. So does it matter which piece you guys are using? No, I'm just going to say X. What does the word is mean? Equals. Let's read the rest of it. 3 feet less than, what does that mean? Minus 3. Twice the length of the other. How would you say 2 times the other one? 2 what? Perfect. You have 2 pieces. They told you that one piece is. So X is 2 times 2y, and then you have the minus 3. So now what do we do, guys? Once we set it up, it's easy. I take this, I put it here, right? So 2y minus 3 plus y equals 57. Combine like terms. What's 2y and 1y? So 3y minus 3 equals 57. Now what? Add 3 to both sides. So 3y equals 60. What's y equal? 20. So if y equals 20, what does x equal? So y equals 20 and x equals 37. So the question was, What is the length of the longer piece of wood? You guys would say what? 37 feet. How did you figure out that if one was 20, the other piece was 37? 57 minus 20. Good. Very good, very good, very good. You guys can all handle this. Okay, we got another rectangle problem. You guys might see a rectangle problem tomorrow. Draw a rectangle. Length and width. Read the first sentence. Tells you the first equation. The length of a rectangle, that means L, is, what does the word is mean? Equals, how do you write twice the width? 2 W or Y, whatever you use. If you want to use X and Y, that's fine. Perimeter is 72. Remind me again what perimeter means?
Addition.
It's addition. You're adding up all the sides. So it's L plus W plus L plus W equals 72. Well, what can we replace L with?
2W.
Yep. So 2W plus W plus 2W plus W equals 72. 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 is? I have 6 W's equals 72. Divide both sides by 6. What's the width of this rectangle?
12.
Perfect. Doesn't tell us what units we're using. Oh, yeah, it does meters. They spell it like the English. So if I know that the width is 12, how do you figure out what the length is?
Plug it back in.
You plug it back in right there. So the length equals 12 times 2, which is?
24.
So width is 24 meters. So your length is 12 meters and your width is 24 meters. And again, how can you make sure that you're correct?
Plug it back in.
You can add up all the sides. You can put 12 and 12 and 24 and 24 and add up all the way around and you should get 72. Good. All right, 2 more. This is a short one. Mostly you think of word problems and they're real long and there's so much, but there's a lot of information in this first teeny tiny sentence. It says the difference in the measure of 2 complementary angles is 12. Everything you need to know about both equations is right there. What does complementary mean?
90 degrees.
90, good. So I have 2 angles, yes? I'm going to call them X and Y. Okay. So if 2 angles, and we're talking about 90 degrees, what's my first equation?
X plus Y
X, what? Plus Y
equals 90.
equals 90. Perfect. It says the difference in the measures of these 2 angles is 12. What does that mean? X minus Y equals 12. Can I solve this?
We know exactly.
Can I just do elimination the way it's already set up nice and pretty? X is on top, Y is on top. So look, I can eliminate this. I get 2X equals, what's 90 plus 12? 102. How do I solve for X? So X equals 51. Okay. What's the other angle? We good?
Y is 39. 49. Yeah, 49.
All right, I want everyone to do this right now. Talk to me. Okay, 49? I'm sorry, 39.
Yeah.
39, right? 51 and 39. Whoops.
So 90.
So X is this, Y is this. Doesn't matter if X or Y, doesn't matter. But one is 51, one is 39. Agreed? Okay, good. All right, let's talk through this one. The cost of 2 tables and 3 chairs is $705. Guys, what are the 2 things we're talking about? Tables and chairs, all right? I'm going to make tables X and chairs Y because tables came first in the problem. You can literally write your equation by filling in math terms for each in the sentence. The cost of how many tables? 2. What did we make tables?
3.
X. Okay, plus, how do I write 3 in a number? 3. What are my chairs? What does the word is mean?
Equals.
There's your first equation. 2x plus 3y equals 705. Perfect. All right, the next thing says, is the table costs $40. The table is, what's the table? What do we use for table?
X.
The table costs $40 more than the chair. How do I write $40 more than the chair? Y plus 40. Could I have written 40 plus Y? Yeah, same thing. Can I figure out how much it is for one table and one chair? I sure can. What's the lovely thing we can do? I can take this and I can plug it in right there. Now say I just really don't like substitution. Could I do elimination with this problem? Yeah. Do I have to do a little extra work?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to keep 2x plus 3y equals 705. I'm going to keep it just like it is. But I'm going to move this y over here. Everybody okay with that? So I have x minus y equals 40. Are you allowed to do that? Yeah. Some of you just really like elimination better. Do it that way. What would you multiply the bottom equation by? 3. Perfect. So I'm going to have 2x plus 3y equals 705. I'm going to have 3x minus 3y equals, what's 3 times 40? 120. Now when we combine, 2x and 3x gives me 5x. My 3y's cancel out. What's 705 plus 120? 825? Why'd I put a plus? 825. Yep. Now what? Divide both sides by 5. So what does x equal? It's 825 divided by 5. 165. So what is 165?
That's regarding the 2 tables.
The cost of one table. So one table is $165. How do I figure out what the chair is?
You plug it back in.
I'm going to subtract 40 from it. Okay, good. I can plug it back in. If you want, you can say 165 equals y plus 40. You're subtracting 40, like Sarah just said. So y equals, what's 165 minus 40? Good. It is 125. And again, how can we go back and check? You can take those two numbers and plug them into your original equations. Does that make sense? Yes, ma'am. You did substitution up here?
Yeah.
And you got y as 125?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you could have put y right here, 125 plus 40, to get the table. It would be 165. Same thing I did, just different things. Now, some things I want to bring to your attention for the test tomorrow. Okay? If you have x over 2 plus y over 3 equals 7. Okay? This is not, we're not solving anything. I just want to talk about this. What can we do to make this equation prettier and not have any denominators? What can I multiply the whole equation by? Not 2. What would be a common denominator? 6, right? You guys agree that if I multiply this whole thing by 6. Now, last period, people were forgetting. Guys, you have to multiply through the whole equation. So I multiply here. 6 divided by 2 gives me 3x, right? So here, 6 divided by 3 gives me 2y. This is not 3x plus 2y equals 7. It's 3x plus 2y equals 42. You have to go through both sides of the equal sign. Yes, sir.
Can you use 12?
Yeah.
That's fine.
You could use 12. You could use 18. Anything that would be a common multiple, that's fine. Again, if you have decimals, if I have 0.04x plus 0.3y equals 7.2. How many places do I need to move the first decimal?
2 times.
2. You always have to move everything by the most places. So look what happens here. I move this 2. This becomes 4x, right? When I move this one 2, what does this become? 30y. When I move this 2, what does that become? 720. Don't just move it just one space to where there's no decimals. Whatever is the most amount that you have to move to make one a whole number, you have to move all of them by that. Same thing. Does that make sense?
Like based on like the first
No, not just the first one. Say this one was 4x plus 0.35y equals 1.2. What is the most amount of spaces you have to move to make your decimal a whole number? 2, right? In order to make that a whole number, I have to move 2. So that means everything has to move by 2. So this is 35. Yep, there's a decimal place there. You got to move it 2. This would become 400, and this would become 120. You see that? Okay, again, fractions are okay answers tomorrow. You could get x is 1/2. You have to plug back in. You can get x is 3/7 or y is 4/5. You will not get x equals negative 111 over 37 and then be expected to plug back in. That's not going to happen. You can get fractions, but they'll be simple ones. All right, does that make sense? Okay, does anyone have any questions from the review? Anything else?